Welcome to the 2023 series of the Property Report podcast by Property Guru. This year, we will be exploring the latest trends surrounding the real estate industry across different markets in Asia. This episode is brought to you by Australasia Property Advisory Association, APAA, the supporting association of the Property Guru Asia Property Awards Australia. For this episode, we will discuss the innovations in construction technology and their impact on the property industry. And here with us today to talk about this are our highly respected judges of the Property Guru Asia Property Awards series. Starting off with our first judge, Mr. Janadi Gunawan, Managing Director, PT Meinhardt Indonesia, and member Indonesia Judging Panel. Next, we have Ms. Hang Dang, Managing Director, CBRE Vietnam, and member Vietnam Judging Panel. And lastly, we have Mr. Stephen Yu, founder and CEO of Valorton Group and member Australia Judging Panel. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. And for the first question, what are some of the most notable innovations in construction technology that are shaping the future of the property industry? Who would like to go first?
I can volunteer, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah. I think one of the things is what we're looking at, for generation in the future, is how we can decarbonize, how we can, introduce sustainability in all respect in the construction industry. So there are, quite a number of innovation that can be implemented, within the construction industry to achieve that goal. One of the things is, we start looking at, how we can be standardization. So I think this is the area Stephen will be interested in as a developer, and also try to make it more modular, repeated construction. So all of this with standardization, modularizations. Then you can go into fabrication off-site, and as well as installation on-site. The other things to pay attention of is how we want to use the material, the material of which that has intrinsic circular economy. It's from natural products, so it contains less carbon, or it's coming from recycled material. So one of those things that can be implemented as part of future construction material, that will only be good for human beings, I suppose, and for our planet.
Janadi, I agree 100%. We've been trying to look at modular and prefabricated material. As Australians, one of the countries actually experiencing soaring construction costs. Our construction costs probably have gone up by 50 to 80% last couple of years. But at the same time, we're also faced with various challenges by bringing this modular construction method or material into the country. One is the Australian standard. There's quite a heavy investment and energy you need to spend on certifying certain products, especially from fire rating and the environmental standard. That's one of the challenges we've been dealing with constantly. I think if somehow the countries can reach a recognition between themselves on the standards on the construction material, that will make this our life a lot easier, actually getting the new material or new prefabricated methods into the country and get implemented.
Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah.
Ms. Han, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes. I'm not like the other two judges. I'm not exactly in the construction business. My business is more in sales and marketing and management side of the property industry. However, I have to work closely with all the partners or design company and construction company before the project completion. So for me, with the work, once working closely with this company, with this partner in designing, I could see that some of the technology which can change or can impact a lot in the real estate market. For example, like I see in the designing the BIM system, the platform for design, which is supporting all my business partner to do the design for the projects. Something like 3D printing, also supporting them quite a lot and saving a lot of material waste. Or I can see recently with the AR or VR, visualize the attribute environment at the planning stage, which also supporting us for the residential project or for us and in order that we can visualize the project in the future. So and also recently in the last few years on the green building feature, which for all the projects. Also, I think it's one of the new technology and also impact in the property industry quite a lot. We're talking about all the feature of green building, including LEED or Lotus Edge, etc. certificated. I think, and now it's net zero is already the trend for property now. So all of these are really impacting our industry now. That's from my point of view.
Thank you, Ms. Hang. And how do these technologies impact the efficiency and speed of construction process? For our second question.
Yeah, if I just want to sort of bring one sort of small but interesting point on that. Recently, we've been implementing smart door locks just on construction side for large-scale apartment buildings. In the past, the access and security has always been an issue. The builders have to bring hundreds of keys and try to manage the access. It's very time-consuming and very laborious. So now we actually help them implementing the smart door locks, whereby they can set up a temporary passcode. They can actually program the different fobs to access different levels of the buildings. So I think that small innovation is actually really making the daily access very efficient. So I just want to sort of bring up sort of this interesting point that just came to my mind and just want to kick off this conversation.
Thank you, Stephen. Jadani, Ms. Hang, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, I think for me, like I mentioned earlier, I just want to talk about the sustainability and green building feature for all the building now. I think I know that for all this building, in order to get to net zero is a trend for Vietnam at the moment. And although many of the developers feel reluctant to do that because they have to pay extra costs, I learned that the cost increase is about 3 to 5 or 10% of the cost for the construction in order to get the certification. However, we can see that when the project completed, we can save about nearly 20% of the OPEX. So I think in altogether, I think it will be very beneficial for the developer and of course for the environment and for the country as well. So I think it's really something for the developer to consider and should follow from now. That's my thinking. Yeah.
Ms. Han, can I ask a question? During the marketing campaign, how do you sort of convince or demonstrate the value to the end users as to these sustainability measures being be implemented by the developer. As you mentioned, the actual cost will go up, but I guess the developer want that to be reflected in the sales price. So what sort of things do you do to demonstrate the value to the end users?
Because we are at CBRE, we are working in the commercial and residential real estate. So commercial is, I think you can see that for office building or industrial building, it's the end user. The developer will provide a sustainability projects to the tenant and to the end user there. And most of our client, our tenant for office building, for example, now sustainability is one of the priority criteria for them now, and that's I think for them there will be a lot of support for the operation for their operation, including the office or industrial management. So I can see that when we do the demonstration or presentation for all of these net zero or Lotus or all these green building feature to the developer, to the landlord, they all can see how the benefit to bring to the end user. And for residential project, I can see that on the sustainability, on the green building features really support the resident or the buyers in the future in terms of their environment or their costs. I think they cost in the future when they move in the new residential property. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Han.
Thank you.
I would like to add what Ms. Heng was saying. Yes, that's correct. The trend for developer, they have to pick the choice between higher initial investment and then quicker payback periods in terms of lower operational costs. In the type of project like commercial development, for example, this kind of arrangement are more viable, or more the developer more in favor of green building to be implemented to their development, and moreover, governments around the place now. Particularly in Asian country, government are promoting energy conservation, net zero, green building developments, within the country. So that's also encourage the developer, to adopt green building design within their development. Of course, at the expense of higher initial costs, but at the end of the day, the payback period will be, a lot quicker because of lower operational costs. Just give a quick reference. The building right behind me, which is called Menara Astra or Astra Tower. This is a commercial office tower. At the moment, is considered one of the best office commercial tower in the country. It's rising up 50-story high. And it already attained a Green Mark Platinum Award, which is Singapore certification for green building. Yeah, in order to achieve Green Mark certifications, there's obviously a lot of innovation that need to come, within the planning and as well as the implementation and construction of the building. Yeah, and as well as through the operational of the building in terms of ensuring all the energy conservations, all the green design initiatives that are designed and implemented in the building, they all operated perfectly well, throughout the life cycle of the building. Yeah, so that's come on efficiency, I suppose. When come to constructability or speed of construction, I think I just quickly touch base on standardization, modularizations. With this in the planning, the speed of the construction will be a lot faster because there are off-site work that can be done in the workshop or in the factory while the on-site work is ongoing. So the speed of the construction will automatically be improved because effectively the site work is lesser.
Thank you for that input. Very, very informational. Are you judges ready for the third question then? Here we go. How do these technologies contribute to sustainability and environmental responsibility in the construction sector?
Recently, we've actually adopted a technology that from an Australian company. It's called Start Water. So what they actually, their technology is using this recycled material, like recycled glass, recycled garden waste, to purify the storm water. So as you know, the stormwater, when they travel around the road, there's a lot of heavy metal, a lot of toxic stuff. We actually been using this star media to get rid of the toxic stuff, so we can reuse this stormwater to irrigate and for car washing. So these sort of new method, we've seen that are really start to find its ways into the construction industry. One of the judges mentioned that more build a circular economy, and that's more and more been adopted by the developers and the builders in Australia.
Thank you, Stephen. Junadi, Ms. Han?
Yeah, if I may add, is basically by having a circular economy, you tend to be able to use recycled material. And obviously, from that perspective, it will be more sustainable. And by using natural produce is also is good because in terms of that, pretty much less carbonizations within the material. And the other important point to be added as well is wastage. Often the case in the construction industry, there are a lot of wastage. So how are we going to minimize this waste? And one of the things is I go back again to, having, modularization, standardization. So then, everything being done in the workshop, in the factory environments, and everything being planned in terms of, the cutting plan and all these sort of things. So obviously, wastage can be controlled as opposed to doing all in situ or on site.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's from me.
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Stephen and Jimadi about this thing. You guys for sure know better than me. But I can see that all this technology, including on the prefabrication, which can reduce on the construction time and material and saving the environment. And also for us as looking from a point of view from the end user, from the tenant or from the buyers, we can see that on this green building feature, we really support the end user as or office for the office building, we can say for the tenant or the resident in the building. And with all these the green feature like Lotus Edge or LEED, and then nowadays I think we can have the WELL certification as well, which supporting all the people living in the building or supporting all the tenant who using the space inside the building and have the environment, and also supporting the health and the basically is create a healthy environment for all our tenants inside the building. So I think that thanks to all this new technology, nowadays we can expect a very, very, sustainability environment for us now, for when we're talking about the office building or residential building now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're down to two more questions. Let's talk about some of the challenges or barriers to widespread adoption of these technologies in the property industry.
I think the key point here will be cost. Yeah, like any other thing, is innovation is always come with costs. Yeah, anything that are new is obviously, it hasn't been mass produced, therefore cost can be prohibited in terms of get that implemented. Because like any other thing is, we're living in the world, where there is demand and supply, and cost issue is always number one. Yeah, in order to achieve this, it's inevitably the government need to be participating in encouraging this to happen by the government gives some incentives in various way, whether through taxations or whether through rebates and so forth, in order for this sustainable innovation or sustainable technology to be implemented for the future. Yeah. The other thing is, I mentioned about something new. When something new is, obviously the skill set from the industry is not quite there yet. So therefore, that will be the challenge, the second challenges, I suppose.
Yeah, I 100% agree with Janati. There's a lot of challenges come to adopting this sustainability construction methods or material. The one thing is the cost. I mean, the builders and developers not going to incur extra cost unless this cost will be reflected in the final property selling price. And the industry still need to spend quite a bit of time and energy educating the end users why this will increase the value of the property down the track. And the second thing is Australian, for instance, is a highly, they have very strict regulations on construction materials and also on the building industry. For any new construction material and methods, you need to go through various certifications. I think the government really could help the industry by providing some incentives or to actually subsidize the industry to obtain those certifications and approvals. The last thing is that it's really the learning curve. If it's for new construction materials or methods, we need to spend time to understand how we can be implemented in the project. So there's, sometimes you need to take a little bit of risk as well, because you don't know what will happen along the way of using something new. So overall, is as promising as it sounds, but there's a lot of challenges that the industry need to overcome to embrace these sort of sustainable materials or construction methodologies.
And for our last question, judges, how do you see these innovations shaping the future of architectural design and urban planning?
To continue what I said earlier, that the government always play quite an important role here. Stephen's also referred to, how governments in Australia, also in the same direction. So again, it's in order to see it's all happening, and incentive from the government is necessary, and because incentive of government will speed up the transition period, into decarbonizations of the construction industry as much as possible.
Yes, I agree. I mean, these sort of new methods of construction will benefit everyone, not only the end users, the property development industry. Really, sort of everyone in the community will benefit from these sort of sustainable measures. So, if the government can give some incentive for the planning, from the planning perspective, for instance, if you deliver a carbon neutral building, you get extra GFA, or you get some additional density. I think the developers and will definitely will do everything necessary to adopt these these innovative construction material methods. As I mentioned, it is a very challenging exercise. So the industry needs some support from the outside world, especially from the public sector as well.
Yeah, for me, I think I totally agree with Stephen and Chimadi about all these things. I think, like you guys said, I mean, because at the moment the limited knowledge, industry knowledge and skills, so the learning curve is very important for all the resource now, for the human resource, and there will be a lot of improvement from now. And government on the regulation and legal framework. I mean, especially in Vietnam, there's a lot of things need to be improved and changed to adopt on this new technology, and this really impact in the industry now. And I think with the support of all the new technology, including the AR or VR, the industry will now become more efficient to create a future-proof and resilient response to the climate change and also the urban constraint, and actually, will impact in the future of the industry. Yeah.
Judges, thank you so much for allotting a few minutes of your day for this discussion. We appreciate you all so much. Once again, this special episode is brought to you by Australasia Property Advisory Association, APAA, the supporting association of the Property Guru Asia Property Awards, Australia. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Property Report podcast by Property Guru. We have exciting topics lined up, so stay tuned for the next ones. And for more information, please visit asiapropertyawards.com. See you then.